You are inevitably going to outgrow the people that you love. And this is not a message saying that you should just cut everybody off. That's generic, right? The message is deeper than that. Sometimes nobody did anything wrong. Sometimes you simply became different people, and forcing an old relationship to fit into your new life can oftentimes hurt both of you. And here's what you need to understand, right? Because number one, growth changes what you value. Maybe you used to bond over partying, gaming, gossiping, spending money, complaining, whatever. And then your priorities change, and suddenly the thing holding the relationship together isn't a part of your life anymore. And I think this happens with like the majority of people. And I think I talked about this in my previous videos how people are unwilling or uncomfortable ending relationships with people because of how long those relationships have spanned. Now, naturally, you would want to keep together relationships that you've had for a long time. But again, when you're changing as a person, and you're going in a different direction of self betterment, and the people around you are not on that same journey or don't have that same mindset to want to do the same things, it's very hard to have things in common because the things that they value and prioritize, you've traded away for your journey. You traded away for the hopes of achieving greatness. And they'll almost want you to conform back to who you used to be, and they won't view what you're doing as motivation or a sign that they should begin doing the same thing. If anything, it's going to piss them off. You know what I mean? Because it's going to reflect what they know they should be doing, but they may not have the balls to go out and take the action to actually do those things. And this is the thing: people get uncomfortable by that, and then they go back to doing what they were doing before. No, just because other people aren't on the same time span as you doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back to doing what they do to force having relations, to force having something in common with. At the end of the day, bro, life is a journey that you're taking by yourself. We're born alone and we really die alone. So just keep that in mind when you're doing these things, right? History doesn't automatically equal compatibility. Knowing someone for 10 to 15 years doesn't guarantee that they're going to belong in the next 10 to 15. The time invested isn't the same thing as alignment, right? You can't look at how long you've been in it. Just obviously how long you've had your relationship with that person is very important, but the alignment is just as important, if not more important, right? If we no longer align, if we no longer have the same values after 10 to 15 years, like, then we don't need to be speaking anymore. And that's not a bad thing. It's not saying that I hate you or I don't care about you. I don't even like you anymore. It's just understanding that we have different values. We're in two different places in life. We have two different goals in life. And trying to force our relationship to continue to grow under this tension and duress uh, doesn't really make much sense. And sometimes you outgrow people without becoming better than them. You know what I mean? It's an important point to understand. It's like someone could perfectly be happy living differently from you. Outgrowing the relationship does not mean that you're superior to them or they're superior to you or whatever it may be. People may interpret your growth as rejection. You stop going out as much, you become busier, you start protecting your time, and now it's you changed. Now you think you're better than everyone else. And sometimes you did change. And that was the fucking point. You know what I mean? The hardest people to outgrow are the people that you genuinely love because it's easy to walk away from someone who's toxic. It's much harder to walk away from someone who's a good person. You just don't fit into each other's lives anymore. And you shouldn't shrink yourself to preserve those relationships. This is the heart of the video, is that people sometimes abandon goals because growth creates tension with friends, partners, and families. You should never fucking do that. You should never intentionally become smaller so everyone around you remains comfortable. Fuck that shit. Because one day when you look back on your lack of action that you took on your goals and your dreams and you see other people achieving their goals and dreams, you're going to hate yourself. And you're not going to be able to live with the decisions that you refuse to make. So, you know, but don't become arrogant either, because growth isn't an excuse to treat people like they're beneath you, right? You can change direction while still appreciating what somebody meant to you in that earlier chapter of your life. Everything doesn't have to be all negative and hateful and, you know what I mean, combative. It doesn't have to be that way. Some relationships just are meant to end. You know what I mean? They're meant to change. And your best friend might be suddenly someone you talk to once a month instead of daily, someone you saw every weekend instead of someone you see occasionally. And distance doesn't always require drama, right? One of the hardest parts of becoming somebody new is realizing that everyone you love can't necessarily come with you. Some people were perfect for the person you used to be. That doesn't automatically mean they're right for the person that you're becoming. And if somebody tells you you've changed, sometimes the answer isn't to defend yourself, it's to simply say, yeah, I was supposed to. And that's kind of what I want to stress to you guys is don't be apologetic if you feel like you're in a period of your life where you're changing and it might be affecting the other people around you or they may feel affected. That's not your problem. To just put it bluntly, their feelings about how you're living your life are 100% on them. That ain't got shit to do with you. That ain't got shit to do with us. We're on our path, we're on our journey, and we're gonna reach our goals and dreams no matter what the fuck happens. That's the goal, that's the dream, and you should continue to pursue it.